Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, and Monty, good do everything as it is up and for Biafran land and for Biafran territory. Yes, so many things don't they happen as this issue of the Prime Minister Simon Èkpá, doing everything possible to bring down the Nigerian government and his entity in Biafran land. It is going zoom zoom. It is going free will. It is going smoothly, and in all ramification, it is going happily. Let me tell you one thing. One thing I believe is that Biafra is here, and nothing, I mean absolutely nothing, can stop the Biafran freedom, because I know and I fully know it has been ordained by Chukwukike Abiyama, and everything is pointing towards that total dissolution of the Nigerian government in Biafran land. The 30 days sit at home is going zoom zoom. But you must understand that the Prime Minister Simon Èkpá is not ready to compromise, the Biafran freedom. That is why he has vowed, even with his own life, he has vowed, even at the expense of sacrificing his happiness and the happiness of his family, to make sure that Biafrans get the freedom they truly deserve. So come what may, one assurance I am giving to you is that it might necessarily take time, but the reality is that the Biafran freedom will come. Freedom fighting is not for kids. Freedom fighting is not for those who feel that they can talk. Freedom fighting requires a lot of sacrifice. Biafrans, on the other hand, have been sacrificing. I won't lie to you. They have sacrificed a lot to the extent that they have even sacrificed their lives. We know so many Biafran heroes who have actually gone down the drain because of this freedom fighting. So many innocent people have been killed by the terrorist Nigerian government. Why they are trying to criticize you for buying the terrorist police and the terrorist army? Also, remind them that innocent Biafrans have also gone down the drain because of this terrorist government that has done everything possible to make sure that they bring innocent people down. Let me tell you the truth. I believe in Biafra. Do you believe in Biafra? Have you registered for the voting? The voting is still ongoing. Over 50 million Biafrans have exercised their franchise, have actually exercised their right of freedom. They have voted for the Biafran freedom, and they have said, we will vote for Biafra. We will make sure that Biafra comes as quickly as possible. We want freedom. I don't know what you want. You want one Nigeria. I salute you. Good for you. But the reality is that the one Nigeria syndrome cannot work in Biafran land, because Biafrans now know that they are hated in this so-called contraption called Nigeria. So without wasting any other time, let us go into the issue that we'll be discussing today. The least you can do is to subscribe to this channel, turn on your notification, because you will get more information as it happen for Biafran territory. We'll carry plenty matter come for you. Do not forget that today is the 1st of September, and today we are bringing happiness to all Biafran with this great information.
New Zealand, and nam na nem nambonye Umuibi village na nembonye Onitsha. So yeah, ebem no now na New Zealand, delivering this meeting to you all. So again, welcome. I'd like to welcome you to the introduction of Ministry of Justice. Can you hear me? Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
we can hear you.
Oh, sorry. I thought somebody said something. I'll just give, essentially a brief overview of what it will look like, what the Ministry of Justice will, what our aim, our goal is for it to look like. And here is the agenda, starting first with our vision, our mission, then the structure of the state, look at briefly at the court system, justice process. And then I want to touch briefly about where we see ourselves as we look forward, as we venture into the future. And then I'll allow for some time for questions at the end. So the Ministry of Justice is responsible for the authorities in the judicial system, including the Biafran police, the courts, prosecution service, legal aid, and through the public defense service and the Biafran prison and probation service. The ministry is also responsible for migration issues. The Ministry of Justice maintains and develops legal order and legal protection, reinforces the structures of democracy, and safeguards citizens' fundamental rights. The ministry is responsible for drafting the key legislation and maintaining legal order to ensure the proper functioning of the judicial system. Judicial powers are exercised by the independent courts. In addition, the Ministry of Justice is responsible for legislation in the areas around constitutional and general administrative law, civil law, procedural law, criminal law, public order and safety, as well as migration and asylum law. So our duties will include the following. So the Ministry of Justice are determined, the duties of this ministry are determined in a government decree. So some of the duties are performed by the agencies and public bodies within the ministry's administrative branch. So this will include law drafting in the fields of constitutional law, public law, civil law, criminal law, as mentioned earlier before, the development of law drafting within government, and the provision of advice on wider Biafra and international law, courts, court proceedings, judicial divisions. Our duties will include legal aid and general bar association, as mentioned as well. Sorry, somebody is drawing. I'll just clear that. Okay. General interest representation, prosecution services, enforcement service and supervision of the management of bankruptcy estates, enforcement of fines or infringements, community sanctions, and, is there a way to lock? Sorry. Enforcement of fines, community sanctions, and sentences of imprisonment, the general planning of crime prevention and other criminal policy, improving the position of crime victims if the issue is not covered by other ministries, criminal records and other legal registrars, issues relating to pardons, international legal matters not covered by the mandate of other ministries, national elections, municipal elections and referendums, as well as the promotion of civic engagement, if not covered by other departments, party register and inspection of parties' accounting and use of funds, accident investigation, equality, and promoting good ethnic relations. So these are just examples, however, not limited to this list, and also can be expanded to cover, the duties can be expanded to cover more things. But I think all in all, the Ministry of Justice will always look always work towards a safe and just Biafra, ensuring the rights of all Biafrans are upheld. Our vision and mission. So I've put three main key themes here. So the Ministry of Justice is committed to integrity and honesty in governing our justice system, striving to establish a trustworthy and reliable system for citizens. I think it is crucial to maintain a system that citizens can have faith in. The Ministry of Justice is dedicated to creating safe communities for Biafrans by ensuring the presence of police throughout all regions of Biafra, minimizing delays in law enforcement and response time. Transparency is key as well. I think transparency is a core value for the Ministry of Justice, promoting accountability by offering citizens full visibility into its operations. The ministry aims to grant all citizens adequate access and insight to its process and procedures. So these three themes will be at the root of our mission: integrity, safety, and transparency. Especially want to highlight safety. I think it not only is important to be in a safe community and safe environment, provide that for our citizens, but having them feel safe. And looking at the way things are now, a lot of people do not feel safe. When Biafra is actualized, that will be one of the key things that we will work hard to ensure, whether through our police, not only through our police, but through other measures, that our community members, our citizens feel safe. They can trust in if they need to report anything, they can trust that our police and our justice system will uphold and defend them and protect them and uphold what we stand for. So building a justice system that is fair, equitable, and accessible to all. Yeah, so our goal is to build a justice system that is fair, not just fair, but also equitable and accessible. Regardless of people's background or status, they will have access. They will be able to, access the justice system. We are committed to upholding the rule of law and ensuring that justice is done that justice is not only done, but is to be seen to be done. So with regards to the rule of law, everyone is subject to the law, including the government. And our law will be clear and clearly enforceable. So we uphold the rule of law through our daily work to ensure laws are clear, predictable, accessible, publicly made available, and that the community can participate in the lawmaking process. Again, something that isn't currently happening in, dare I say, Nigeria. So we have to be different. We want our people to be able to participate in the lawmaking process. Laws are publicly adjudicated in courts that are independent of the executive arm of government. Dispute settlement is fair and efficient where parties cannot resolve disputes themselves. And I will touch a little bit more on that part. To achieve this, we will implement rigorous oversight mechanisms and engage in continuous dialogue with the communities we serve. By actively listening to the needs and concerns of our citizens, we can adapt and improve our services to better meet their expectations. And I think at the end of the day, the system is here to serve our people. So if we are engaged with them, if we involve them in the process, if we listen to them, we can do that to a very high standard. The Ministry of Justice will also prioritize the use of technology to streamline processes and enhance efficiency. Again, something I will touch a bit later on when I talk about the way forward. But essentially, by adopting innovative solutions, we can reduce bureaucratic red tape and ensure that justice is delivered promptly and effectively. So ultimately, our vision is to create a justice system that embodies the principles of integrity, of safety, and of transparency. We invite all citizens of Biafra to join us in this endeavor, as together we can build a just society, not just for this generation, but also for future generations. So looking at the structure of Biafra, so of course, we have the Constitution of the United States of Biafra in progress, about to be finalized. The Constitution of the United States of Biafra will operate at the core of the state's functions as a foundational document that aims to protect the interests, liberty, and rights of the Biafran people, safeguarding the independence and security of the country. It aims to promote the common welfare, sustainable development, internal cohesion, and cultural diversity of its people. Constitution will ensure the greatest possible equality of opportunity among its citizens, and it will commit to the long-term preservation of natural resources and a just and peaceful international order. Biafra Constitution establishes a confederate system of government, hence Biafra nation is called a confederation. Each of the 40 states is autonomous, so that is how it will operate. The central government has no coercive power over any state and its citizens, except whether the Constitution states otherwise. And yes, this is the updated list in no particular order of all our 40 states. Separation of powers. So power separation confers executive, legislation, and judicial powers of the Confederation on the three bodies as established by by our Constitution. So as you can see, we have the Parliament with the power to make laws, running under a unicameral method or system, if I can put it that way. The executive arm with the power to administer laws and execute business of government through police, defense force, government departments, and other statutory authorities. And of course, the judiciary, with the power to conclusively determine legal disputes traditionally exercised by courts in criminal litigation and civil cases on such things as contracts and other legal matters as well. The powers of the national parliament and states are clearly defined by the Constitution for harmonious synergy between national parliament and the states. And so at the right time in the future, we will obviously hear from the team working on the Constitution. Our court system. This is an overview of how I suggest the court system, the hierarchy of the system should be. The role of the courts is to administer justice by enforcing criminal law, resolving civil disputes, and upholding the rights of individuals, ensuring they are upheld, and ensuring that government agencies operate within the law. So there are different structures. In my opinion, this is the most simple, but also efficient. So we will have tribunals and authorities at the lower end. And then, so whether it's to do with tenancy, to do with immigration, motor vehicle disputes, licensing and certificates, taxation, charities, authorities, all different levels of tribunals, different kinds rather of tribunals and authorities. And then from there, if they were to appeal, it'll go into district courts of respective regions. And in the court system, we will have the youth, specific court for youth, family court, criminal court, as well as civil court. I think it's easier to have things like employment dispute tribunal separate, because it's more of a niche and it's more specific area. So for example, so I've put it here, if any employment issues can start at this employment dispute tribunal, then it will move to the employment court, which sort of stands alone, but on par with district court. Same here as having environment court and land court stand alone as well, just to keep things organized. So issues regarding land or the environment will be heard in their own separate courts. Then, if not resolved, the appeal can take place to the High Court. And then we will have Court of Appeal as well as the ultimate Supreme Court. And then just as a standalone as well is Coroner's Court. And I think this quite well covers all, if not every aspect of our of society. But just moving back to here, I think I wanted to add something that I didn't touch on in the beginning, but it's basically to say that my vision as well is to see a modern justice system that cannot and will not be tainted by any form of corruption, and that delivers equitable process and outcomes for all. I also wanted to touch on Omenala Ndiwo. Our Omenala will restore the essence of who we are. I strongly believe in incorporating and intertwining Igbo traditions and Igbo way of dispute resolution first, where we can resolve an issue without having to use the court system, which will be here, but where it can be resolved without referring to this system, that will be the best way. Our Menala will restore the essence of who we are. Our ancient Igbo idioms such as Onye Biribia and Onya Halawaneya will continue to underpin the way our system will work and thrive. And this will have a flow-on effect into our states, into our societies and communities. So moving back to the justice process and how we will go about it, the Biafran Ministry of Justice will engage a different approach. Oh, sorry. So this was where I didn't miss it. It was the next slide. Anyway, that's fine. We'll continue. The Biafran Ministry of Justice will engage a different approach to dealing with crime and civil disputes, including reintroducing traditional approaches of Omenala Igbo that are akin to the restorative justice approach. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the restorative justice in the legal industry. It's an alternative to the court system. So essentially, the two parties at dispute will come together and speak, depending on, of course, what the crime, like what the offense that has been committed. It can get quite difficult, or it can be. It's case by case. I'll put it that way. But it has been proven to really help both parties see the issues from both sides. It has been proven to reduce a lot of unnecessary court time and resources. So yes, for example, the engagement of community elders and having the two disputing parties come together to converse where possible. The court process will still remain, as I said earlier. Traditional methods of resolution will However, traditional methods of resolution will take priority. So where Omenala cannot resolve an issue, the Biafran court system will prevail. That is the vision. That is the hope. So again, covering our criminal justice system, it will consist of three major components. That is police, courts, and corrections. So as I touched earlier in my opening, I think I mentioned how we want to build, within our police, we want to build a very trustworthy, reliable system. We want our communities and our citizens to not only know that be safe, but also feel safe. We want to be able to go, to be outdoors, to be walking, to be at whatever time of the day. It shouldn't matter. We are in our home. We are in our land. We should be able to feel safe. Police generally is the first point of contact that people, the first point of contact in the system, the first people see of the justice system, the first contact people make with the justice system, sorry. So again, having a strong force will be necessary. They will be responsive, well-equipped, and reliable. Regarding the department of, so we've already touched on courts and the courts structure. So regarding the Department of Corrections, I think I just will note briefly that careful consideration around incarceration versus community-based preparations will be given. Of course, it will depend on the offense committed, but what we don't want to build is a system where we're just funneling people through the incarceration, funneling people through prison and out with hope that that will just fix the problem. And research from other countries, other states around the world has shown it's not quite so. Incarceration is not the only answer. Again, and that is why engaging a different method, such as including Omenala in the way we attempt to resolve disputes will be necessary as well. So regarding the different models of criminal justice, the Biafran criminal system justice system will combine the due process model and the crime control model. So due process is essentially more where things are done the right way, have all the procedures been following, has this person been dealt with fairly? Whereas some countries who adopt crime control have more emphasis on punishment, take more conservative approach to ensuring that the offender is essentially what's the word, when they held accountable for their actions. And so there's more of a emphasis on, you do the crime, you do the time. It's good. It has its pros and cons. In fact, both models have its pros and cons, and a lot of countries adapt one or the other. But in my opinion, I think our criminal system should combine both, because they're both are necessary. If one commits a heinous crime, it's you don't just walk away from it. But at the same time, we want to still maintain our citizens, even whether or not they committed crime, they still have dignity as a person. They still have the right to be represented, the right to go through the due process. And we want to give them that opportunity. So the system will combine both processes, due process model and crime control, to reflect traditional values as well. I think in the way we do things in Igbo land, naturally, both models are playing. Let's give this person opportunity to speak. Let's hear what they have to say. But also, you're not going to get away with, if you've wronged the community, you've wronged society, a wrong has been done in the land, not necessarily going to just walk away scotch-free. So both are in play. So that is why we want our system to reflect both models, reflect traditional values that prioritize safeguarding individual rights and freedoms alongside managing criminal conduct to maintain public order in society. So that is my take on the models of criminal justice. With regards to civil justice, the system in Biafra will handle cases presented to the civil court by individuals, by organizations, and at times local or central government entities to facilitate dispute resolution. So these cases could involve conflicts related to business contracts, debts, neighborly disputes, or debt recovery. Similarly, attempts will be made to resolve such disputes through traditional methods, such as engaging Omenala, initially, before proceeding through the hierarchical court system. Okay. Looking forward. Okay, so the Ministry of Justice in Biafra will explore enhancing the utilization of AI to establish the most efficient and impartial justice system in Africa. So with ambitions to extend this model globally, this system will serve as a guiding framework for other African nations to adopt. So I believe it is important to lead by example, and we're all in this position. We are all in our respective positions doing so. And this nation will be one that will influence and impact other African nations. And I believe that our criminal justice, our justice system at large will be an exemplary one that will be looked onto, one that can be adopted by other nations. If through the use, when I say utilization of AI, this is what I mean. So by leveraging advanced machine learning algorithms and comprehensive data analysis, we aim to eliminate human error and prejudice from judicial processes. And we've seen where human error and bias and prejudice has really run the nation down in the judicial process. We've seen where bribes are involved, we've seen dishonesty, we've seen, you name it. We've seen it, and we've seen it fail. So that will not be the case for us. And one positive way of many ways in the use of AI as the world evolves is eliminating that prejudice and human error from processes. Then the initiative will encompass a wide range of applications for the use of apps, from predictive policing to automated case management. So I'm in my work environment where we use electronic files only. So moving towards that paperless society, but before society, at least a paperless department, like the Ministry of Justice department can be working towards something like that. It also helps with security as well. It makes things easier in that sense. Anyway, this initiative will encompass a wide range of applications, from predictive policing to automated case management and even virtual courtrooms, ensuring that justice is not only served swiftly, but also fairly. Just on that note of swiftly and fairly, a lot of the delay, a lot of the downsides of some of the court processes or court systems that I've been exposed to in different countries around the world is that there's usually always, a backlog of cases or a delay. for whatever reasons, especially coming off the back of COVID. Well, in the country that I'm in, at least now, our system is really behind schedule. But one of the other reasons why that is because of how it's based. It's based on an old system, a very old system that is not quite automated. So if we can automate things, we can electronize things, if that's a word, the system will operate a lot more swiftly and minimize of backlog. The rollout will include extensive training for legal professionals to adapt to these new technologies, as well as rigorous testing phases to guarantee the accuracy and reliability of AI systems. Yes, public transparency will be a cornerstone for this transformation, with regular updates and open forums to address any concerns and gather feedbacks from citizens. So again, at every process and all that we're doing, I think it is important to keep that open dialogue with our communities, with our citizens, keep them involved in the process. We're not just doing this for them, we're doing this with them. I think that is one of the best ways to achieve a successful system, including the people you're actually serving at as much as possible. The ultimate goal is to create a justice system that embodies the principles of fairness, accountability, and integrity. And we look setting a new standard for legal excellence. Yes. By doing so, we hope to foster a more equitable society where every individual has access to impartial and timely justice. This pioneering effort will not only benefit Biafra, but will also inspire neighboring nations to embrace innovative solutions for their own judicial challenges, paving the way for a unified, progressive legal landscape across Africa, and to be honest, across the world. But we'll start from home first. Oh yeah, so that's it. Yes, that concludes my introductory presentation to the Ministry of Justice. Otherwise, thank you so much for attending. Thank you for taking your time out to be here. And I'm honored to be able to provide you with all this information regarding our Ministry of Justice. There is, more to come in the future, but this is just for now at this introductory level to share with all I have to share with you. So, Biko, Obuna, please feel free to ask.
Thank you, Minister Jen. EU Rep, are you there? Deputy EU Rep, are you there? I want you to say something before we attend to some questions. And also some of the ministers of the cabinet that may intend to say one or two. The microphone will be open to you first before we take a general questions. Obi, over to you, please. EU Deputy Rep.
Thank you, Minister of Information. Good evening, Biafrans, and good evening, PM. Good evening, all the cabinet members. Thank you all for joining this presentation today. It is important what we have done today. Thank you so much, Minister of Justice, Mother Jane. It's really, I'm so proud of you. Thank you so much. You have narrated our justice system and the things that Biafra need to look out to. So, it's just amazing to see how we grow step by step and how we just becoming a nation before our very own eyes. Thank you so much. It was an amazing presentation. I don't have questions, but I just want to thank you so much and to tell Biafrans that they should be proud because Biafra were a mother. Thank you so much.
Valerie Netzel.
Thank you. EU rep, are you there? You have something to say? Minister Luke Iwunze, Ambassador, you have to say something, please. Unmute yourself.
Thank you, my able Minister of Communication, Your Excellency, Prime Minister, members of Cabinet in the House, Biafrans, a new day has dawned on us. This is a new day. As I'm listening to this presentation, my heart is overwhelmed with joy because we are restoring dignity, we are restoring identity. Can you imagine a Biafra where if you don't lock your door, you will sleep? Can you imagine a Biafra where when you enter a car, you are happy? Can you imagine a Biafra where when you see a policeman or woman, you feel safe? You are not intimidated. Nobody is telling you I can do anything and nobody will ask. It is a new day for us. I am excited. I know that the best of our life is here with us. Thank you, Jen, for you exceeded my expectation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Iwunze. Great to have you there. Okay, we go to Sister Ogochi. Over to you. You may start your camera if you want.
I'm okay.
Pastor Rose,
Good
you may
evening,
start
everybody.
if you want.
Good evening, PM, Information Minister, Cabinet members, Biafrans, Jane. Thank you for a beautiful presentation. I'm very happy how it's been presented. And as you said, this is just the basic, the first presentation. The only area I might like to ask question is regarding, Aligbo, we say Aligbo nwere mmadụ. Aligbo nwere mmadụ ahụ, Aligbo was really Aligbo before the British came and messed it up. And as we know, our Igbo people regard their chiefs, their Eze, their Igwes. And now we're starting a new government.
Yes.
My question on this aspect is, how do you think, with what we know about Igbo people, because Igwe si mmadụ rụrụ ala na obi ya, Igwe will give his own verdict, and then the government will give their own verdict. How do we see the Igwes working very well on a smooth line with the government? Because these are critical things when it comes to Igbos as we know it.
Thank
So
you.
I don't know how that fine line is going to be defined so that there won't be like clashes of power between the traditional rulers and the government.
Yes.
This is just something I think might need more clarification, or maybe later on in your next presentation. But this is the area I kind of have a little bit of concern because of how the traditional rulers are before the British came, because they might want to bring that back, and now we have a government that they have to work with.
Yeah, and thank you so much for your question. And I think that's the key question. That's the key statement there, work with. So I did mention what you're saying is part of what I was mentioning and when referring to Omenala being restored, because you're right. Prior to colonization, we already had a system, to be honest. So it's about working with that and prioritizing tradition, prioritizing, so it's going to be a work in process. How do we incorporate the, like, each region's and each place, like how incorporating that alongside with current, like, the system, the new system. But it definitely was not, I'm fully aware of it, is what I should say. And that is why I mentioned how our system will work to reintroduce or reincorporate our Igbo traditions, the way we did things, especially where it's working, and how we can continue that. And that will take priority before the Western system. That's how I see it. And it's just a matter of fleshing out how that will run. But it's a great question. Thank you so much for your observation. And it is something that will be expanded on in due time.
Okay, my second question, which is my last question, is you mentioned AI, which, as we know, is artificial intelligence, which is a different entity on its own altogether.
Mm.
And I know it's working. Although the Western world are using it, and it's something even them are struggling to work very well within their system. So how do we plan to use AI in a system that is totally new to most of us?
Yeah, so I mean, it's not something that will just malite straight away. It will be, that's also why I included it in the looking to the future. In the future, this is something, as it gets refined, and it is being refined, there's a lot of positive aspects to AI.